Primary night in South Carolina. The polls have been closed for 3 hours now in this statewide vote. Every seat at the State House in play, congressional races, local level races, but not many voters. The latest numbers from state election officials show about an 11% voter turnout, quite low. But there were a number of critical races that drew people to the polls today. One of them, a Senate race that is about to have some level of the changing of the guard. We are talking about the race between Senator Dick Harpootlian and House Rep Russell Ott. Those numbers coming in as we speak and just about finalized. If we could see those numbers, that would be fantastic so I can show people what we're talking about here. Okay, we're not going to see him. Russell Ott right now looks like he is going to earn the Democratic nomination in this particular race. Our Kiana Jordan is covering the Ott camp. She's in West Columbia now at his campaign night headquarters. Kiana, probably be a heck of a vibe out there.
That's right, Brian. You can see and hear this excitement in this room right here at Representative Russell Ott's watch party. He walked in just moments ago and gave a speech thanking everybody in his campaign for all the hard work they did. And one thing he said to everyone that stood out was the difference he says in his campaign compared to the other campaign is that he talked to everyone and really put in a lot of hard work. Now, behind me, we've got a bunch of guests here. We've got supporters from the State House of Representatives, state senators here, and we even have the mayor of West Columbia here in support. Now, I've talked with many people in this room, and they've been optimistic all night. They believe in what Representative Russell Ott wants to do and what he stands for. Now, this race comes after Senator Nikki Setzler said that he wouldn't be running for re-election again after this term, and Representative Russell Ott saying he wants to continue the work that Senator Setzler has started and finished on, and he believes that he can do a great job. Again, you can see this excitement here in this room. All of these people, I wish you guys could have seen just the cheering and the applauding that came in when Representative Ott walked in with his family. Now, he says no matter what happens, he is looking forward to what happens in November. Live in West Columbia, I'm Kiana Jordan. Watch Fox News, Local First.
We talked to Russell Ott. I'd like to hear from him. Russell Ott just picked up what has to be considered an upset here, crossing over from the House and hoping to get into the Senate. I know we spoke to him just moments ago. If we could hear from him right now, I'd love to hear what he has to say.
To each and every one of y'all, it's been a long 4 months. Yes. It's been a long day, but we sure like where we are. Winning feels good. And I can tell you one thing, we wouldn't be able to do this without each and every person in this room and each and every person across this district that showed up and voted today. We pulled off something that a lot of people didn't think we were going to be able to do. So it's a big deal.
It's a big deal indeed. There will be a new face representing that Senate district. May not be Russell Ott, but as of right now, it sure looks like he's getting the Democratic nomination over the veteran political figurehead, Dick Harpootlian, the Democratic Senator, District 26 in Richland County. Those are the latest figures from the State Election Commission. It's still tight, but Russell Ott, who you just heard from, speaking like a man who has won that particular race again over that long-time political personality, Dick Harpootlian. Our Claire Foley is tracking the Harpootlian camp tonight. She's in Columbia's 5 Points at Harpootlian primary night headquarters. And as we're seeing here, this one is coming right down to it. Talk to us, Claire.
That's right, Brian, it is, and the Harpootlian campaign is not throwing in the towel just yet. We spoke to Dick Harpootlian himself just a little while ago, and he kind of gave us an update on where things stand. He said it has been an incredibly close race all night long. The three counties in this district are Lexington, Richland, and Calhoun. Now, the votes have come in for Richland and Calhoun, and like you saw, these results are really neck and neck. And now they were waiting for a big portion of votes to come in from Lexington. He was guessing about 20 precincts still to be expected out of Lexington County. He had said that the Harpootlian campaign was successful when it comes to early voting, but they were really still looking for those same day voters. Now, this isn't just a Democratic election on this ticket. There's also a Republican election, and that is just as close, if not closer. There are 3 candidates in that pool. That's Jason Gary, Billy Oswald, and Chris Smith. And there looks like there's going to be a runoff in that race. As the latest numbers show that Chris Smith was leading with about 38% of the votes. Jason Gary with about 34, and then Billy Oswald behind with just about 28. Now, you do need more than 50% of the votes to take home the nomination, so it's looking like on the Republican side of the ticket that there will be a runoff. But like I said, the Harpootlian campaign is not giving up just yet. We are expecting Senator Harpootlian to come out and address when they do get those expected votes coming in from Lexington County. But we'll stay here and be back around 10:30 to give you an update on how things are going down here at the Harpootlian camp. But for now, live in Columbia, Claire Foley, Watch Fox News, local first.
All right, we want to show you that race she was just talking about, the Republican half of this equation. Again, multiple candidates there as well. If we could see those figures. Jason Gary, again, looks like he has won the GOP nomination in Senate District 26, beating out Billy Oswald and Chris Smith by a significant margin with 68% of the vote. That's 100% coming in. So as it stands now, that means he will move on to presumably face Russell Ott in November. Here's another one we're watching in the general Richland County State House area. Kirkman Finley, the former state lawmaker, making another run at it here in House District 75. Looks like he is on his way to the GOP nomination there. That would then set up a race in November against the current incumbent in House District 75. That's the Democrat, Heather Bauer. And in Senate District 22, that seat will be left open later this year by now independent Senator Mia McLeod. She choosing not to run for re-election. You can see how the numbers are panning out here. And this looks like that this is going to be heading for a runoff, which means the top 2 vote getters out of the 3 you're looking at here of these Democratic candidates are going to move along 2 weeks from now. But again, not all the votes are counted, but it might take a significant amount for this to shift to somebody having more than 50%. But as of now, your top vote getter in State Senate District 22 race, Ivory Thigpen, number 2 behind him, Overture Walker, the Richland County Councilman currently, and Monica Elkins, lifelong educator and a school board member, in a distant 3rd right now. But again, doesn't look like anyone's going to pick up more than 50% of the vote in that particular race. So the top 2 vote getters, again, will move on to a runoff in 2 weeks. Here's another one. Longtime Lexington County Republican Senator Katrina Shealy. This, too, appears to be going to a runoff on the GOP side of things there, with roughly 60% of the votes being reported so far in the Lexington County voting precincts there. Shealy, though, on top at the moment. But again, to close the door on tonight, you have to have more than 50% of the vote. So it looks like in 2 weeks we're doing this one all over again, minus the 3rd particular candidate. Now, staying in Lexington County, going real local on this one, the sheriff's race. Lexington County Sheriff Jay Kuhn, been in office there for 9 years now, but facing some opposition today from 2 veteran law enforcement officers, 2 retired law enforcement officers. If we can take a look at the results on that particular one right now, it looks like Sheriff Kuhn will maintain his status as sheriff there if we can look at those numbers. The last I saw, he had a commanding lead. We don't have those numbers ready, I guess. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to, but take my word for it. I'd love to show you, but again, the graphics aren't cooperating. Sheriff Jay Kuhn, as I looked on my computer before I came out here, he was ahead in that particular race. We're going to go to our Joey Matei, who is live at Kuhn campaign headquarters right now. You spoke to the sheriff, and as of right now, it looks like he's going to stay the sheriff. What do you have?
Yeah, Brian, I'm here at private property, which is where the watch party was for Sheriff Kuhn. Now it's winding down now, but earlier today it was filled with excitement, a lot of laughter, a lot of good food, a lot of high-name profile people were here in attendance. And Sheriff Kuhn really tried to emphasize the fact that Lexington is safe and that people are moving here. And he says that he is part of the reason why that is the case. And he has major endorsements from Governor Henry McMaster and Attorney General Alan Wilson. Now, he says that is one of the leading factors in why he regained election here in Lexington.
Polls have been closed since 7 o'clock, and just about all the votes have been tallied, with all the seats at the State House in play in this June primary. And one race to watch in the Senate at the State House, a potential changing of the guard. Senate District 26, Richland County. Russell Ott, the current House lawmaker, making a run at Dick Harpootlian, the incumbent senator in this district. Again, all the votes haven't been counted yet. A slim margin here, but at this point, it looks like Russell Ott is going to earn himself a victory and the Democratic nomination in this particular race over a veteran political figurehead in this particular state. Now, just a little while ago, this was Russell Ott, around just before 10 actually, getting to his primary night headquarters, greeted by applause and a whole lot of hugs and handshakes, and has the look of a man who actually just won himself a Democratic nomination in District 26. But again, a slim margin with just a few more precincts to come in. But that smile right there tells quite a story. Team coverage of that race for you tonight. We have reporters with both candidates on the Democratic side of things in this race. We begin with our Kiana Jordan. She is with the Ott campaign, and you also have yourself a special guest there.
Yep, Brian, I'm right here standing with State Representative Russell Ott, who's running for Senate District 26. Representative Ott, this has been a close race. Tell me how you're feeling right now.
Feeling very grateful right now. Feeling very grateful to a lot of people across Senate District 26 that showed up, cast their ballots to make sure that their voices were heard today. Very grateful for family, very grateful for a team that has been working very hard over the course of the last 4 months to ultimately get us to this point tonight. But, you know, we've still got a long way to go. This is just the first step. So I'm looking forward to celebrating tonight and then waking up in the morning and going back to work to make sure that we win this in November.
Awesome. And, you know, just when you walked in not long ago, you talked about why your campaign has been so successful this far. Tell me why.
I think the three principles that, you know, that I've tried to make sure that I bring to the table as a representative for House District 93, and that's honesty, integrity, and hard work. That's what we brought to this campaign. I think that's what people really appreciate. And I think people appreciate, you know, just approaching issues that our state faces with common sense. But at the end of the day, I think people just really want to make sure that their voices are heard. So we focused on making sure that we were going to every part of Senate District 26, whether it was the rural parts of Calhoun County, the suburbs of Lexington, or, you know, the downtown area of Columbia. We took our message, we knocked on doors, and that ultimately proved to be successful.
And you've got a bunch of supporters here tonight, a bunch of people who believe in what you stand for. What can you say to them? Just
thank you. I mean, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. You know, anything like this you don't do alone. It's not just one person. So there are so many people, but especially to the voters for stepping up and showing out. We had good turnout tonight. And so I'm just really proud of what we were able to accomplish, but we're going to keep going. We're going to roll up our sleeves and make sure that ultimately we're successful in November to make sure that Senate District 26 continues to get the type of representation in the Senate that they deserve.
Awesome. Well, what's next is that election in November. And to keep up with the latest results in this race, you can stay tuned in and follow us on WACH.com. Live in West Columbia, I'm Kiana Jordan. Watch Fox News, local first.
All right, Russell Ott, happy man tonight. We continue our team coverage now with Claire Foley. She is covering Senator Harpootlian's camp tonight. Again, all the precincts aren't in yet. Less than 200 votes is the margin right now. Claire, you're there in Columbia's 5 Points with this part of the campaign. What can you tell us there?
Well, Brian, like you said, it's such a slim margin that this campaign is not throwing in the towel just yet. They just came out just seconds ago and gave us an update. They said they're still waiting on about a handful or so of precincts out of Lexington County. And because the margins have been so slim, they think that they could make a difference in their favor. They said the margin is really only 80 or so votes. So they're really counting on those handful of precincts to make a difference in the Harpootlian campaign. They just said that either way, he is not going to come out and speak this evening. He said that regardless of the result, he will be holding a press conference tomorrow morning at his office at 10 a.m. But again, the Harpootlian campaign is still holding up hopes with just a handful of precincts left to show in their results, both from early voting and same-day votes coming in out of Lexington County. And again, in the Republican race, it's just as close. We got a little bit more for Chris Smith in the Republican race, but again, it's such a tight race. He's only about 38% of the votes, and then Jason Gary about 34%. But again, we'll bring you the very latest on these elections as soon as we get the results on air and online at WACH.com. For now, live in Columbia, Claire Foley, Watch Fox News, local first.
All right. Thank you, Claire. You heard the latest there. The Harpootlian camp calling a news conference for tomorrow morning. Of course, you can count on us to be there to hear what he has to say. I would imagine that a recount could be triggered here with that thin margin separating the two candidates. Okay, there's the other half of the race here in District 26, the Republicans. Jason Gary looks like he will be facing whoever the nominee ends up being on the Democratic side of things. As it sits now, that appears to be Russell Ott in November. So it looks like it'll be Gary versus Ott in November. But again, we still will be hearing from the Harpootlian campaign tomorrow morning at 10. Again, we will be there for that and bring you the very latest online. We'll stream that for you online tomorrow morning. Senate District 22 now, taking a look here at Ivory Thigpen in the lead here, but will not be getting more than 50% of the vote with 100% of the precincts reported. So we will have a runoff in 2 weeks from today. Not next Tuesday, Tuesday after. That will go between Thigpen and current Richland County Councilman Overture Walker. You can see how close those two candidates are. Monica Elkins, a distant third here. The question now is in the runoff, where do those 1,254 votes go on runoff day, and how will it determine who wins this nomination? Our Mashari Adams has been covering that particular race all day today, throughout the day. What's going on right now?
Brian, I'm here at Rehoboth Baptist Church where State Representative Ivory Thigpen is the pastor. Now, I've been out here all afternoon watching his watch party as people celebrate and shower him with prayers. You know, currently Ivory Thigpen is leading with 3,208 votes, and Overture Walker's a close second at 3,017 votes. Now, I have Representative Thigpen here with me right now. Representative Thigpen, how does it feel to be so close?
Well, first of all, let me begin by thanking each of the others who offered themselves, because I know it's a lot of sacrifice and energy to even offer yourself. And we knew that it would be a close race with all of us being elected officials. And I'm happy to say that out of the elected officials that I am leading. But I think that just speaks to the fact that those who are following and know that experience matters, knowing that I'm the only one who's been at the State House and who has done the work, quite frankly.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Thigpen, for speaking with us. Back to you, Brian.
All right. Looks like he'll be doing it all over again in a couple of weeks. So this part of the race is not over yet. So some congressional races on the ballot today as well to put the people in place that will represent South Carolina's voices in the nation's capital. This is one that people all over this country were watching, in fact. Congresswoman Nancy Mace, though, declared the winner tonight in U.S. House District 1 on the GOP side of things. Catherine Templeton, the former DHEC chief, had a lot of financial backing in this particular race to make a run at Nancy Mace, but Mace picking up a late endorsement from former President Donald Trump in this one, presumably helping her get over the hump here and earn this win. Strangely enough, Donald Trump did not endorse her during her last run. In fact, endorsed her opponent during the last election cycle. But this time, jumping on Nancy Mace's train here and giving her an endorsement. And Mace will now move on to November, beating out Templeton and Bill Young. She will now be facing Michael Moore, it appears. That one's called, it looks like, on the Democratic side of things. Michael Moore getting the Democratic nod there in U.S. House District 1 will face Nancy Mace in November. Joe Wilson, the longtime congressman, commanding win over challenger Hamp Redmond for the Republican nomination in House District 2 that runs through the Midlands here. But he's not done yet. There are some Democrats in this race as well. David Robinson, commanding victory here to earn the Democratic nomination, 84%. Robinson versus Wilson, the next round of this one, that one is in November.